Welcome back, y'all. Part two. All right. Verse 19 of John chapter 13. Going into it. Now I tell you, before it comes, that when it does come to pass, you may believe that I am He. He's still telling his disciples that you will believe that I am who I say I am. All right. Most assuredly, I say to you, he who receives, he who receives whomever I send receives me. This is the reason why you must receive the man or woman of God. You must receive the person who is the mouthpiece of God, like the prophet or the apostle, the fivefold ministry. You must receive the teacher, the pastor, the evangelist. You must receive them, especially if they are true, because they receive the word from God. See, I wouldn't be doing this, if the Lord had not given me instruction and if I had not talked to my teachers. You understand what I'm saying? Because through the day that you die, you're going to have somebody that's going to be able to help you. So you must be able to receive what the man or woman has to say to you. Because a lot of times, and I understand a lot of you out here who feel like, Christianity right now. You probably say to yourself, I know so many Christians out here who don't live the right way, or who they say one thing but then they do another, because actions speak louder than words. I got you. I'm there with you. But one thing I am gonna tell you is just that when you encounter the true man or woman of God, you gotta respect them. You know, um, you gotta take heed to what they gonna say. I love y'all, so please take heed to what I'm telling you, and because I wouldn't give you anything that's not true. All right. So listen up. It says, most assuredly in verse 20, I say to you, he who receives whoever I send receives me. And he who receives me receives him who sent me. Wow. So if you receive the man of God, you receive Jesus and you receive the Father. All right. But more importantly, this thing is really about you and the Lord. Don't ever forget that. All right. Verse 21. When Jesus had said these things, he was troubled in spirit and testified and said, most assuredly I say to you, one of you will betray me. Then the disciples looked at one another, perplexed about whom he spoke. All right, they're like, who that is? Who about to betray Jesus? Like, I know it ain't me. I know it ain't me. You know what I'm saying? I can just see Peter and them like, Andrew, like, man, shoot, man, I know that ain't me. He ain't talking about me. He must be talking about that Judas over there. That Judas over there. So verse 23, it says, now there was a leaning on Jesus' bosom, one of his disciples who Jesus loved. The disciple who Jesus loved was John. Read John. You're going to gain in God. All right. John got real with people. All right. Verse 24. Simon Peter therefore motioned to him to ask who it was whom he spoke. Now, I told you about Peter, man. Peter always asking them questions. He's like, man, Lord, you know what I'm saying, man? Man, it ain't me, man. It ain't me. That's a lot of times we be like, we might be in church, or we may, it's like, man, you might hear some gossip, like, man, that wasn't me though. And that's a lot of saints. I'm telling you, we gotta get out of all that gossip and stuff in the church too. I mean, we gotta just be straight up, go hard for the King, man, because you tell one lie and then that lie's gonna lead to a whole bunch of lies, all right? So, be clean, like I said, easier said than done, but that's why we talking about Jesus. The more you increase in Jesus, trust me, the more all of that stuff got to get out of you. All right? So, verse 25, it says, then leaning back on Jesus' breast, he said to him, Lord, who is it? All right? Jesus answered, it is he whom I shall give a piece of bread when I have dipped it. And having dipped the bread, he gave it to Judas Iscariot, the son of Simon. All right? Watch this, y'all. Now, after the piece of bread, Satan entered into him. So after he took of the bread, Satan, was whoosh. All right. Then Jesus said to him, what you do quickly. Ooh. So what he told Judas was like this: if you're gonna betray me, do it now. And I can just look at Jesus doing GG status like, if you really about to take this chance and this risk, I know it's just something that we just gotta nip in the bud. Do it now. All right. So, verse 28. But no one at the table knew for what reason he said this to him. So they was kind of naive. They're like, why you said it to Judas? I don't know. So verse 29 it says, for some thought because Judas had the money box that Jesus had said to him, buy those things we need for the feast, or that he should give something to the poor. All right, so they was a little naive about it. Verse 30, having received the piece of bread, he then went out immediately, and it was night. So he went out to betray him. All right. So then it says in verse 31, the new commandment. So when he had gone out, Jesus said, now the Son of Man is glorified, and God is glorified in him, because now the process had begun. And now he got to talk to the 11 who was called to teach the people, the ones who were going to be there to preach. All right, so now the Son of Man got glorified. Verse 32, if God is glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself and glorify him immediately. Little children, I shall be with you a little while longer. You shall seek me. And as I said to the Jews, where I am going, you cannot come. So now I say to you, a new commandment I give to you, that you love one another as I loved you, that you also love one another. By this all we know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. Understand this, people. It don't end with the 10 commandments. It begins with love. I don't need to know you to love you. The Bible says in 1 John chapter 4, verse 8, one of my favorite scriptures, he that knoweth not God knoweth not love. How can you say you love God, but somebody needs some help and you can't help them? Your life should be trying to help somebody. Your life should be encompassed in, just doing stuff for people and not want nothing in return. I'm not saying being foolish with it, because you can't help everybody. You know what I'm saying? People who going to take advantage of you, got to be wise. Read Proverbs. But your life should be encompassed of, okay, if somebody got a need, I'm going to try my best to help them. Because, if you ain't got no money, you going to want somebody to help you. I could go to my family. Back in the day, we had no money, still help people. You're supposed to help people. You understand what I'm saying? Because you're not supposed to live after the flesh, but after the spirit. And people who live after the spirit are not bound by money or by things like that. Because trust me, you can help people by giving them a solid word of Jesus Christ. That's why we must increase in him. All right? John chapter 15, verse 6 through 27. We're making a couple changes right now. All right? We're still in the New King James Version. All right? If anyone, starting at verse 6, if anyone does not abide in me, he is cast out as a branch and is withered. And they gather them and throw them into the fire. And they are burned. If you abide in me, and my words abide in you, you will ask what you desire, and it shall be done for you. By this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit, so you will be my disciples. Understand and get this, all right? If God is the king, you should be able to ask God for whatever you want. Okay? So Jesus told his disciples, hey, I am salvation and I'm the king incarnate. Understand that, hey, you want a nice house, you want a nice family, you want to live life and be happy, you can get it. All right? Part 3. Hold on, we about to get deeper.